Hello, good morning. Good morning, world. Good morning, Gambia. It's like Gambia, it's not part of the world. How am I mentioning world and Gambia all together? Yeah, so you are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. We are back again, and it's Thursday already. Mr. Ade. Is it Thursday?
I better not be. Because when I left home this morning, it was Wednesday.
It's Wednesday already.
Yeah, so,
how am I fast forwarding it?
Unless I've missed 24 hours.
I'm looking forward to New Year's, so yeah. I want this to run very fast, I mean, so that we can get to the New Year's. Because 2024, you know, we believe 2025 would be a better year. So
I think we always have that hope.
A lot of resolutions, but I don't know if they are achieved or not.
I think everybody has the hope that the next year will be better than the one that you're seeing out, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. Yes, Mr. Bana, I would probably, Mr. Cool, yeah, so we are back, and it's important for us to be on this platform, no matter what. For us to enlighten our viewers of things that are happening. You know, here on QTV, we just don't break the news, but we help them break down the news into particles so that the viewers will understand. Yeah, so Mr. Adedrame is our guest. He would only be doing the newspaper review today.
I know, I'm inundated upstairs.
Absolutely. So how are you, Mr. Ade?
I'm very well. I'm very well. Pleased to be here. And you know, sometimes, as you mentioned there, you know, we come to work and you're pleased just to get to work. Because on my way to work this morning, I saw the aftermath of what looked like a really terrible accident. Along Kairaba Avenue, a car had smashed into one of the buildings and completely wrecked the front. And from what I could see from the impact, I think the driver, I suspect, would have had some serious injuries. I can't even imagine how the accident happened, but such was the damage and destruction to the car that it must have hit the building with some force. It came off the road and hit a building, so I'm not sure.
Well, it's unfortunate. Most of the time it's speeding.
Yeah, speeding.
And, you know, faulty brakes as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, in most of the time people don't understand, you know, when you are your car breaks, sometimes you can see other people will go to mechanics and they'll tell them, just cancel the other one behind. And, you know, we can I'll manage with the two in front. You know, so sometimes all the brakes needs to work together for there to be a firm stopping of the car.
A friend of mine once told me a horrifying tale. I mean, and I'm glad that he lived to tell the tale, because he said he drove from here, as in the Combo, to Sintet and back, with only using his handbrake. The foot brake was not working. I couldn't believe it when he told me. And unfortunately, some friends of mine were in the car, and I said, I hope they didn't realize, because they would have jumped out. They would have said, you know, go, we're not going with you. Yeah, Sintet and back.
But how inconvenient.
Using the handbrake.
The handbrake.
Like,
I mean, that's a crazy one.
Terrible.
Yeah, so you are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. Now, we will head straight to the code. The African proverb, and you know, from the proverb we'll take a look at some of the stories making headlines, and the Minister of Health polio vaccination campaign also is starting on the 12th.
Which is today.
Which is today. Tomorrow, rather. Yeah, so
they've got a press conference today.
Yes, we'll be taking a look at that, and Jibril Gando Balde will be here. And the fire and rescue service also organized an open day fire celebration at Farafenye.
Yeah.
So we will also be taking a look at that, and the PRO of the Gambia Fire Rescue Service, Party Jiba, will be here to tell us what it means and, you know, what they were doing during that day and the importance of this.
It would have been good to have the Don here, Don Williams, because he was there.
He covered
but I'm not
story.
sure whether he's around, but I don't know if he's coming into the office today. It would have been good to have him
time.
Yeah.
So Mr. Ade, the code reads, time is not refundable. Use it with intention.
Oh, I love that one.
Time is not refundable. Use it with intention.
I was going to avoid doing the proverb because you only contracted me to do the newspaper review. But but as I'm here, time is not refundable. I mean, we tell people all the time, you know, use your time wisely. use it productively, because really there are things that sometimes something happens, it's a moment, that moment is gone. You can never get it back. You know, you can try and, you know, seize the moment. So yes, it's not refundable. If you're doing something, try and, you know, I mean, some of us, myself included, sometimes we procrastinate. We say, you know, should I do this? Should I not do this? And then you find out you've missed an opportunity. You know, it could be a contract that you've kind of hovered over taking. I mean, I remember there was a time when I was thinking of buying a house. Kind of dilly-dallied over it, and then by the time I made up my mind, the guy said, "Oh, somebody else has made me an even better offer," and I sold it to them. So, you know, sometimes it can be something like that.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Well, you can see time, Mr. Ade. Time is very funny. At some point, once the time is gone, you can never retrieve that time again. You know, I wish the times that have passed, we can retrieve it and go back to, you know, back to where it started. Many people will not make other mistakes. But Mr. Ade, but one can learn from other people's mistakes and use their time wisely.
You know, it's a strange thing. I mean, learning from other, you can observe things that people have done and say, I will avoid that. But we're all individuals, because you don't know why the person took the decision that they took, which was an adverse one, which you then said, oh, I'm not going to be doing that. You know, individual experience is something you can only, you know, somebody could come and stab you in your foot with a knife and you can, ow, I can see that, I can say, oh, I don't want that, but I haven't felt it. Only you have experienced it, or only you have felt it. And it's the same with any situation that a person goes through. Only that person has gone through it. Other people can see it and think, oh, because they did that, this was the consequence, I'll avoid it, which is fine. I mean, but there are things that only you can experience for yourself. But at the same time, yes, you can see where people have made mistakes, or you can see where people have succeeded. And you can say, I will try and do that. But the thing is, somebody might succeed, but you're not in their head. You don't know what their thought processes were to make them succeed. All you might see are the outward actions. And so, you know, even learning from others' mistakes, you know, it's a delicate one, because, yeah, you know, you can say, oh, yeah, I saw that guy jump in the fire and he got burned. I'm not going to jump there. That's fine, you know. But there are other instances where sometimes we have to go through the pain and learn for ourselves.
What about the saying, it's never too late to start? You know,
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an uncle who, he had quite a successful career. He was working for Shell, the petroleum company in Sierra Leone. And he was about 32, and he'd risen to be a senior manager, and everybody was telling him, oh, you know, great job you're doing. But he always wanted to be a lawyer.
Oh.
And so at that age, he left his job in Sierra Leone, went to the United Kingdom and studied law, and came back a barrister. So by the time he finished, he was 35, 36. So never too late. You know, it's never too late for even that kind of dramatic change or shift in a career. And even this morning I was explaining to somebody who's young and wants to be a journalist. I said, you're only 18 or 19. There's no rush. Take things slowly, learn. Learn from people around you, learn from what you're seeing and observing here at QTV. Use QTV as your school, as your lecture hall, as it were, and learn from it. So, but it's never too late. There are people who are 50 and 60 and they regretted that they never done a degree and they went and enrolled in college. And nowadays, because of online classes, there are many people who, when they've had that regret, they said, okay, I'll do an online enrollment at a college, and, you know, 3 years later they have a degree. You also have the Open University. That's one of the benefits of it. It's been running for maybe 60 years now. And Open University was for those who had kind of left school without qualifications, without a degree. You enroll, and hundreds of thousands of people have now graduated from the
So,
Open
Mr. Ade,
University.
the degrees that you get online and the ones that you go and get in the classroom, what is their difference? Is there any difference?
These days, because we can interact electronically, digitally, there's virtually no difference. I mean, it depends on the institution. There are very reputable institutions that run both physical as well as online courses.
Okay.
And so when you end up with your bachelor's or your master's from that institution, whether you did it online or you did it in person, it's equally valid. So it depends on the institution. And yeah, I mean, nowadays it's accepted because, you know, we transact. And of course, there's this thing about the honesty. You know, it really has to be you doing the the coursework, not somebody else doing it in your name. Because if you do that, you might get a good degree, but what satisfaction will you get from it if you didn't do the work? If you didn't, you know. So there are instances where they will link with you online and they will test you online to see whether you are the person who came up, use your own thought processes to write this piece of work. So yeah,
exactly.
They're equally valid.
Okay, interesting. You know, the world moved now to a level whereby you don't need to travel far. I mean, to get certain things. Now we've seen people do meetings online.
Well, when COVID shut down the whole world, everybody had to do meetings online. So yeah, it's yeah, and that's very much a thing. And of course, we saw schools making use of that during the COVID pandemic. Where I mentioned it many times before, the school where my sister is an administrator in Florida, they gave all the pupils laptops to take home, and they did their courses online for a year. So yeah, that's
well, interesting. I mean, when you look at the wall, at some point we've advanced to a stage whereby things are becoming much easier. I mean, before
some things are.
Yeah, some things are becoming much easier. Rather, I mean, there are times previously sending a message to someone in Europe or America takes time. But now,
write a letter, put it in the post, and then eventually we started having fax machines. And I remember when email was new, it was this mind-blowing thing. Like, what? I can even now attach pictures and documents to my email, not just type in the email, you know, subject heading and then send it, you know, in the body of the email, but I can attach things to it. You know, somebody says, send me your details, send me a scan of your passport and this and that. You know, you can attach all of those. I mean, it's 50, 60 years ago, that was unimaginable.
It's fascinating.
It's mind-blowing.
Yes,
really
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is what it is, Mr. Adedrame.
So yeah, well, I like this particular quote.
Yes, time it's important for us to use
it. Yeah, use your time wisely.
With intention.
Yeah.
I'm surprised why the person who made this proverb didn't say use it wisely.
What did they say?
Well, we use it with intention.
Well, yeah, I guess, yes. I mean, because I guess many other people have said use it wisely. So they don't want to repeat what others have said. They wanted to make their own slightly original. So, yeah.
Yeah, so let's take a look at some of the stories.
Yeah,
on the paper.
Some explosive stories. In the
so Chief Magistrate Pamodu Njai faces 6 criminal charges on the Fourier newspaper. Abuse,
fraud, and drug dealing. So quite serious. I mean, for a magistrate, this is, you know, really quite scary. And because of the seriousness of it, of course, all the newspapers have carried this story on their front page. It's you know, trial is on, and all we can say is these are serious charges. Nothing is proven yet. And of course, being somebody who's legally trained, nobody would know that better than the chief magistrate, but these are serious charges to face, and you know, it's one that people are watching with great interest to see what the outcome will be.
In fact, I will call this maybe taking an advantage of your position to do certain things.
So that's the charge. I mean, don't forget the case is not concluded yet, but that is the charge.
That is the charge.
That is the charge, you know? and that is what they will have to prove in court. You know, we keep saying that in a court of law somebody is innocent until proven guilty. But I think nowadays, as we were talking about things moving fast, in the kind of internet age, people seem to be guilty until proven innocent, because you make an allegation against somebody and straight away people judge you. The court of public opinion delivers its judgment and says, this person is guilty without hearing the side. So even in something as serious as this, you have to hear the other side of the
So let's also take a look at the Meet the People tour that just ended. And, you know, President Adam Barrow went round the country, I mean, to, you know, gather first-hand information from the general public, the residents of this country, so that he can know their concerns and also inspect ongoing works. I mean, it's very significant. Quite
comprehensive. Our colleagues Abdou Cissé and Usman Jatta filed some very good reports from the tour. We're grateful because they informed us, they informed the public about what happened. And at the conclusion, of course, you know, he then held a press conference, kind of post-tour press conference. And as you rightly say, people came out and they didn't hold back. When they wanted to complain, they complained. They weren't like, oh, you know, the president is here, his people are here, should I complain in public? Well, if you don't do that, you've missed an opportunity. And so people took to the microphones at all these meetings and they complained. And on many occasions, the president explained to them what was being done to kind of ameliorate or alleviate, as the case may be, you know, the problems that they complained about. Well, people complained about all sorts of things. In some places, they complained about water, electricity, about roads. In other places, people congratulated the president that, you know, a year ago we didn't have electricity. Now we have electricity. And our former colleague Troy, I mean, he told me, he said he was on the tour, and he said that was one of the things that left the biggest impression on him, was that places that he went to a year ago that did not have electricity now have. He said, apart from anything else on the tour, that was the thing that really hit home hardest for him. And these things, we kind of take them for granted now, you know. Living here, we've had electricity, we had our problems with electricity, but there are places that had never had and now have. And so some of those have. But you also had people saying that president should try and regulate prices in the market. So whatever their concerns, they were able to voice it to his face. And he was able to hear and to listen. You can't solve every problem. Nobody can. And the president, thankfully, didn't promise to solve every problem. But he told them about steps that were being made to address some of the problems that people raise.
At least, you know, taking a step, I mean, to respect that constitutional, you know, that constitutional duty. Absolutely. You moved about, you went around, I mean, to know the concern of the people. I am pretty sure some of these developments that the people are enjoying today, it's due to the previous Meet the People tour, the concerns that they raised to the president. Some of them mentioned electricity, some of them mentioned water, some of them mentioned roads. So, you know, you can see the progress. I am happy that, you know, for him returning to some of those communities and finding, okay, some of these works have been implemented and these people are enjoying all these amenities. So I think it's a good one. And we have also seen residents urge government to provide abattoir, ovens, as Meet the People tour ends in Banjul.
So the ovens were for communities where women were involved in drying fish and so on. So yes, so they wanted those types of ovens. And those things are not difficult to provide. So I suspect when His Excellency said, yes, we will try and provide these, it shouldn't take much to provide them. But, you know, at least they've said it publicly and they've said it to him and he's tried to respond. So yeah.
Exactly.
It's good.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm pretty sure, you know, there will be, because I asked Bojang Sisoho, is there a team at the end of the time that make follow up, I mean, to find out, okay, to make sure some of these things, the concern of the people, it's been implemented at some point. Okay, fine, they need roads. Okay, the government is providing roads for people of Njen Sanjal, for example. So at some point, who is monitoring that to make sure it happens? So according to her, they have a committee that monitors those things.
And you need that, because when you make these promises publicly, people will remember, and they'll come back a year later when you're doing another tour, or in a few months, because there are 2 tours, aren't there, a year, when you're doing the next one in 5 or 6 months' time, or whatever it is. People will remind you that you had said this. And if you go there a year later and nothing has changed, then, you know, you lose credibility. Unless, of course, you can explain why it is, because really you can't satisfy everything. Not everything can be a priority of the same level. So you'll say, well, you didn't get it because we prioritize something else and in another area or in another part of the country. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Good. I mean, and I've said this, but many countries don't have this. This kind of meet the people tour where a president or a leader goes around and hears. In some countries they don't need it because, you know, there's
a system.
There's a system, or the members of parliament are very vocal in raising problems or trying to get problems fixed in their particular constituencies. But, you know, where you don't have that, then this is one way where the leader doesn't just rely on reports plunked on his desk or videos given to him to watch. He can go and hear from the people who are either benefiting or enduring certain conditions and say, we love this because look at the changes made in our community, or we've seen how another community has benefited. We would like something similar to happen for us. So, yeah.
Yes, so, I mean, Dabo responds to rural women's concern over water shortage. I mean, the UDP party and militants, they're also on their Meet the People tour, you know. They're also going around, I mean, trying to enhance that relation between them and their supporters. If possible, maybe get new ones to cross carpet to the UDP. I mean, that's politics for you. So here Dabo is addressing concern of rural women when it comes to water shortage.
And as I just said, you can't satisfy human beings. We're like that, you know. If you complain to the president today and he solves your problem, I'm sitting over here in another part of the country with a similar problem. I'm like, oh, they fixed Balde's water shortage problem. Why haven't they fixed mine? So you will always get that. You'll always find people who have not benefited in the ways that others have. It is an impossibility to you know, satisfy everybody. So it's an easy thing to do. It's an easy win. Find the ones who haven't received what they would like to receive and get them to complain, and you say, oh, look, you see, government hasn't provided this for them. So, but in a way, that's the job of an opposition, because they have to make themselves relevant. And the way you can make yourself relevant is by saying that the government of the day is not doing certain things. If we were in power, we would do these things. But in an honest world, even they would not be able to satisfy everybody. So, but nonetheless, they would go and find the ones who are not satisfied. Of course, that's their job.
Exactly. So, on another headline, I'm seeing President Barrow wants anti-littering laws will fully be implemented. So,
what are you going to do? Arrest 80% of Gambians? I drive, you know, guys in my car, they laugh at me.
Obviously, Mr. Ade.
They laugh at me all the time because you see people, they just throw, it might be somebody, the other day, I don't know, it was almost like confetti. Somebody had obviously ripped up a piece of paper into different bits and they just kind of threw it, and you just saw it all fluttering in the air from the car. You know, it wasn't the driver, but on the passenger side, this person just threw the stuff in, and then you look around and the country is strewn with debris. It didn't get there by itself. We put it there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, yes, government can do this, but we as citizens, we need to check ourselves. We need a reality check on ourselves. So if we complain about the country being filthy, which it is, let's be blunt, we are the ones who are guilty of making it so. Because you're in a car, you can't wait till you get to your house or a destination where there's a bin. You just throw it out the window. And you throw it out the window knowing nobody We don't have people going around sweeping these places. So you're throwing it out the window for whom? Just for it to gather. And if I'd known we were having this conversation, I'll dig out a picture which I took when we were going to Gunjur once. I was so horrified by what I saw on the roadside of strewn bottles and cans. It looked as if somebody had loaded several trucks and just tipped them along a stretch of the highway. I videoed it and I took pictures. I was shocked.
Especially the plastic bottles. I mean, we have a lot of these bottles and cups all over. I mean, those are the most difficult ones to deal with, and these little plastics that you have.
Because they're all non-biodegradable, so they're not going to rot away, and they're just going to sit there and infest wherever they are. And so, yes, it's right that His Excellency the President, but we all need to play our part. You know, individual citizens, local councils, and central government. So they can start by providing disposable, you know, places where people can dispose of these things. And you know, you go in the Western countries now, you go in England, you're walking along a street, you'll see somewhere where you can dispose of cans or plastic bottles or whatever. So they're actually separated already. Well, we need that, and we need that attitude. And we're honestly 100 years away from achieving it, because the attitude of just throwing stuff out of...
Yes, but Mr. Ade...
And even when you're walking along the street.
Mr. Ade, I mean, the attitude to change these attitudes will take a big deal.
That's why I said 100 years.
Absolutely, from one individual to another. In fact, I think this generation... the generation that we are in would be very difficult to change those attitudes, except and until if you go back to our children, maybe grandchildren, maybe those are the people that we can teach. You kind
of said the magic word, and you know, people have gotten fed up of me mentioning Cape Verde in this regard, because I've said it's the cleanest country I've ever visited. But when I went to a primary school, in the morning they sang the national anthem, and before they started the lesson, these were 6-year-old kids. You know what the teacher talked about? Never throw litter in the street. Then I realized why the country is so clean, because from an early age you have already inculcated and even, you might say, indoctrinated your children that throwing litter is bad, and so they just do not do it.
It will be part of them already.
It's already part of them. They just don't do it. Trust me. And, you know, I challenge anybody. You go there, if you see somebody walking along the street in any of the islands of Cape Verde and they discard something on the street, trust me, without even thinking, that person is not a Cape Verdean. They are not, because they just do not do that. How are we going to get to that situation where we are like that? Where we don't walk along the road and we throw something by the side of the road. We're not driving in our cars and we throw a bottle, a can, a cup that we finish our cafe tuba. You know, you're on a minibus coming to work, you finish your cafe tuba, throw it out the window. I see it every day.
Maybe vehicles will start having a mini dustbin.
Well, this is what we should, that's a good start. You know, if you get on a commercial vehicle, and the driver should announce, look, people, any of you who have a can of drink or a cup, I've got a bag here.
Please don't
plastic
throw it
bag.
outside.
Put it in my bag when you're leaving the vehicle. We need to start doing things like that. Your government can do all they want, but we as it's not government that's going around littering the place. So we are the ones who have to take charge of that, and it's something that I really get annoyed about every time I see it. I will never stop being annoyed about it.
It happens. It happens. Yeah, things are happening in this country. Mr. Adedrame, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
You know, for staying and reviewing the papers with us.
I hope you're going to mention Ma Nyang's
oh yeah, please.
award.
Let's go
well,
ahead.
Ma Nyang, founder and executive director of Gambia Participates, has been given an award, and it is in one of the newspapers actually. It's a headline in one of the newspapers. You know, that he's been given this award by, I think he said, the United States Secretary of State. So yeah, I mean, you know, U.S. Secretary of State confers Anti-Corruption Champion Award on Ma Nyang. Ma Nyang, people may know, is a regular, kind of a semi-regular person here at QTV, and of course he's with heads up Gambia Participates. And yeah, and congratulations to him, and we'll be speaking to him about this of course.
Absolutely.
But yeah, just wanted to publicly congratulate him.
It's a huge award, and you know, when you know Mar, you know him. He's an advocate when it comes to justice, when it comes to you know, things happening the right way, accountability. So those are things that he's known for.
And he said he's the youngest person ever to receive this award.
To receive such an award.
Yeah.
This worth inviting Man Young on this platform.
Absolutely. So yeah.
Yeah. So Mr. Adedrame, thank you.
Pleasure.
And hope to catch up probably tomorrow.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
And I was going to drag my colleague Usman Jatta, but he's almost lost his voice from the Meet the People tour. So I think we'll let him go home.
I know. Yeah. So viewers will take a short break. After the break, then we will engage the Ministry of Health on the polio vaccination campaign. We'll be right back.
December 31st, Q Carnival is taking over Q City for the biggest celebration of the year. From 5 p.m. to 11:30 p.m., the evening kicks off with a vibrant cultural and family fun festival hosted by Famous Comedy. A perfect mix of colorful cultural displays, live entertainment, and exciting games for the whole family. But that's not all. The Q Carnival Marketplace is open from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. Shop unique crafts, handmade treasures, and indulge in mouth-watering foods from incredible vendors. Then as the clock strikes 12 midnight, the sky lights up with spectacular fireworks display. Now say goodbye to 2024 and welcome 2025 with a bang.
It's all about the Q Carnival music concert, live in a place we call Q City Complex. On the 31st of December, all road leads to Q City, featuring Jizzle, Miss Jobis, Hussein Dada, Antua Sparky, Nyancho, Big Banga, and many more. Tickets are 200, so massive. Make sure uno lineup live in a place we call Q City, 31st of December. Everything good. Come and enjoy the ambience. Whether it's culture, shopping, food, or music, Q Carnival is where all is happening. Q City is the place to be, the 31st of December. Q Carnival, you don't know, can't miss this carnival.
Gambia, are you ready to party?
Get ready for the biggest celebration of the year.
It's Q Carnival at Q City. This December 31st, we're taking it to the next level.
From 5 p.m. to 11:30 p.m., Q City kicks things off with a vibrant cultural and family fun festival, perfect for all ages.
Shop till you drop at the marketplace. Open from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. Vendors, grab your stall for just 2,000 seats.
Indulge in a classic gala dinner from 7 p.m. to midnight. Come hungry, leave happy.
Couples, this one's for you. Enjoy a romantic movie and dinner night from 9 p.m. to midnight.
And then when the clock strikes 12, the stage explodes with a live music concert from midnight to 5 a.m. The hottest artists and DJs will keep you dancing till dawn.
Don't miss out. Mark your calendars and join Q Carnival, the ultimate New Year's Eve celebration at Q City.
You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Now let's move to the third segment of this program, and we'll be talking about the second phase of the polio vaccination campaign to kickstart tomorrow, the 12th December 2024, and we'll also talk about the World AIDS Day. So we have a gentleman and a lady in the studios. Let's start with the lady. Please tell us your name.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Good morning. My name is Halimatu Jallo Jesorobo, and I work with the National AIDS Secretariat.
Yes, Halimatu Jallo from the National AIDS Secretariat, and we have Jibril Gando Balde from Ministry of Health. Gando, how are you?
Yes, I'm fine, my brother. So it's a pleasure being here, and I'm saying good morning to all our wonderful viewers, or your wonderful viewers, because they know you more than they know me.
They know us, man. They know us, man.
So
now they know you.
A very good morning to all Balde's wonderful viewers and the whole of QTV.
Yes.
So thank you
So
for
quickly,
having me.
let's start with the second phase of the polio vaccination campaign.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, but first, what are the coverage from the first phase?
Yes, the coverage for the first round was 91.6%, which was very high when you compare it with our previous campaigns that we have post-COVID, that is after the COVID, because as we all know, since the COVID, there has been a lot of rumors and speculations about vaccines and vaccinations. So that being the case, we were struggling to get the 90%, but this time around, we were able to get the 90%. And WHO is saying you should get at least 80% when it comes to coverage to get that herd immunity, because in vaccines and vaccination is very important for you to get a certain number of people among the population that is vaccinated. And if it is a campaign, they're saying at least 80% of the population that is targeted for this vaccine should be covered. And we are targeting children 0 to 5 years. And out of that, we targeted around 400,000 plus children, which are among this age range, and then we were able to get 90% plus, of the children within this age range vaccinated, and which means that can provide us a herd immunity. When we say herd immunity, in the sense that when you vaccinate the biggest percentage of the population, and that can also go on to protect even those that are missed out or those that refuse to take the vaccine. And then we are appealing to the public out there, especially the foreigners that are staying in the Gambia this time around, to abide by the rules and regulations, because when it comes to the wars, that you as a foreigner, you want to deny your child having the vaccine when the whole population of the Gambia, children under 0 to 5 are taking this vaccine. And there is this law of the Public Health Act which can be taken up against you, meaning you and your family can be quarantined. You can be isolated, because the population of the Gambia also will not be put at risk because of your own singular interest, denying to take the vaccine.
And Gando, why do you think they are refusing to take the vaccine?
Yes, basically these are related to the rumors that were spreading since the COVID period. So some people, because that's why it's very dangerous to spread rumors. And this is not only related to vaccines, but when rumors spread, you tend to spoil a lot of things. So one of these is rumors, and then the second is vaccine hesitancy. Some people are hesitant, in receiving vaccines. But what we are telling them is that polio is a very deadly disease. When your child gets polio, if he happens to be lucky to survive, he will be having a permanent paralysis.
Okay, and it cannot be reversed.
Yes, and if that doesn't happen, it kills. So these are very serious things that we have fought for ages. Since 1988, there has been polio campaigns all over the world. And when you look at the number of cases that people used to have in those days and today is different, because in the Gambia, when you check at it from 1960s to 70s to 80s, there are a lot of children who were growing up and then had this virus, and then it ended up ending their life, some of them killing them, and most of them paralyzing them. So but since 1988 polio vaccination campaign started, and we have seen a drastic reduction. And in the Gambia, our last case was reported 20 years ago or more. So you can see now we have gone a long way in trying to now put a disease that used to spread like wildfire into a position that it is under eradication or elimination. We are almost, for 20-something years now, we have not seen a wild polio case on any individual.
Okay.
What we are seeing is the polio virus, that is vaccine-derived polio virus, that is in circulation within the samples that we collected, at the sewage sites in Kotu, Banjul, and other places that we regularly do to collect samples to make sure that we are on track, we are on top of this polio virus. It doesn't come back to haunt us or to, to gain the momentum that it had 50, 40 years ago. So we want people to help us to achieve this so that Gambia also could be totally polio-free and certified.
But there was a time we were registered polio-free.
Yes, polio-free. We had that. That was since 2004 because that was the last time we had a case. So if you can maintain that for a number of years, like 10 to 20 years, you'll be certified polio-free. That's why I said, since then we have not seen any polio on any individual. The polio that we are seeing while we are doing this campaign is within the environment.
It's the virus that
that is seen within the environment.
Okay.
You understand? But
you did not see it on an individual.
On an individual. So, but we will not want to also take the chance to wait till it is seen on an individual. You understand? For you to start, doing your response. So that's why, since it is within the environment, we don't want to take no chances. That's why we want to make sure that, because the population that polio targets are basically children, 0 to 5 years. These are the people that when it hits them hard. It either paralyzes you or it kills you.
True.
So that's why this population is very important. We target them and we make sure that they are all vaccinated because they are the population that the disease targets. So if we can have them vaccinated, protected, and we have a herd immunity, at least 90% of that population, if they are protected, even those that refuse here or those that are allergic or they cannot take vaccines because they are having other conditions, they will be protected by this whole lot of people that are vaccinated, which is the 90% of the young population that are vaccinated. So you can see the 10% now will not overshadow the 90%. Instead, the 90% will overshadow and protect.
I'll come back to you,
Gando.
Yeah. Now let's engage with Salimatu Jallow on World AIDS Day. I mean, it's important for us to talk about it because recently I've seen reports of, statistics giving certain areas, a particular number of, to be more when it comes to HIV and AIDS. What progress have been made so far in the fight against HIV and AIDS?
Thank you, Balde. Once again, World AIDS Day is celebrated every 1st of December, as we all know. And for the Gambia, we have made many progress in terms of the HIV epidemic, because the first AIDS case was diagnosed in this country in 1986. And which led the government to form a unit under the Ministry of Health, which is the National AIDS Control Program. And since then, it has been functional, leading the health sector response. And a few years after that, because it was seen that HIV is beyond health, the National AIDS Secretariat was formed under the National AIDS Council, which is under the Office of the President, to have a multi-sectoral dimension to ensure that all partners are involved in it. And then since then, from the pilot of 5 sites or 3 sites, currently the country through partnership with the Ministry of Health, we are in more than 23 treatment sites where everyone can access HIV treatment for free and with confidentiality. And we also have currently more than 85 sites that are also giving treatment to pregnant women. So in terms of the progress, we have gains in the prevention where we're giving IEC messages to ensure that people prevent themselves from acquiring HIV, and those was the first 5 or first 10 years of the campaign, where we had funds through the World Bank and during the HAP, where most of the Gambians were sensitized, ensuring that people know about the issues of HIV and AIDS, because at that time, then in the early days around the mid 80s and early 90s, there was not much hope. Then there was no treatment. for people to know and get tested. And then after that, from 2005 up to now, we've been able to, with our partners, to the government and our donors, mainly the Global Fund, and also supported by the UN system, we've been able to have access to treatment. And from 2010 up to now, we are doing what we call test and treat, meaning if you test, you will be able to access treatment for free at the cost of the client. And also the services are confidential. And then also we have also increased the testing outlets. You can get HIV testing in most of the health facilities and even some of the private clinics. They are now doing, and with the support from the government and our donors, HIV services, starting from the testing to the treatment to the disease monitoring, everything is free, and there is confidentiality. And we've also had a lot of capacity building in terms of the health system, because when HIV was coming, the health system was not ready for the services. Service providers were not trained, we didn't have the reagents, we did not have the labs, were not equipped, and we do not have storage facilities. All these have been supported, and as we are speaking, the health sector is responsive. They have healthcare workers have been trained, and they are being reoriented in terms of ensuring they offer quality services. And in terms of also disease monitoring, we have usually through National AIDS Control Program, with partnership from the National AIDS Secretariat being the coordinating body, looking at the one principle, being the M&A, one M&A stream framework, one strategic framework, and also one coordinating body. And we're doing an annual sentinel surveillance, and year in, year out, and the recent one, preliminary results last year, is saying 1.3 in the general population, and which is really have been we have been able to maintain a low prevalence among the general population. And which is again for us, although we are aware that we have pocketed vulnerable groups that are having a higher percentage, and that is why we are calling in everyone to come out and know your status, because if you look at the UN AIDS estimates, they've estimated that in the Gambia you have about 26,500 people living with HIV, but out of them, only 60% have been diagnosed, meaning only 60% know their status, and then out of those 60%, only 65% of them are on treatment.
Okay, I wanted to ask, how was the stigma surrounding HIV and AIDS addressed during that day?
During the commemoration, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. And also out of that 60%, 65% have been realized to be virally suppressed. And that is a cause for concern for a country, because if you want to have an epidemiology control, research has shown that 95% of people who are HIV positive need to know their status, so that they will be on treatment, and that will cut the chain of transmission. So we are trying to call on everyone not to be afraid of HIV, and we are trying to also take away the fear messages, because the stigma and discrimination you're talking about came about mostly because of the high level of stigma that was created in the early days of the HIV epidemic. And at that time, that was what they had, because there was no much hope. There was no treatment, there was no services available, to only fear messages, and we were seeing people dying of AIDS, which is the disease. But now that with recent evidence where treatment is available, it's no more, or it has reduced drastically, because the same UN is saying no one should die of AIDS anymore. So this stigmatization of the disease, came in that putting AIDS equals to death. That was what created a lot of fear. And then the other fear was that anyone who have HIV is a bad person, or the person is promiscuous. These are the two main areas that created a lot of stigma and discrimination. So this time around, what we are trying to do is to destigmatize, saying that HIV is no more a killer disease, for example, because hardly people reach AIDS. Now people will live with HIV, which is the infection, and you can live healthily with it. With treatment, if you are on the treatment, you take it regularly, and at the time you're told, you can live healthily with it. Now the people that are living with HIV, what is killing them is not AIDS. What is killing them is the chronic conditions like the diabetes and the hypertension, the heart attack. That is what is killing them, not HIV. So that is number one, because we want to use it to destigmatize, because we've seen our messages going out that AIDS is a killer disease, and people are still saying, and it is good that we are in the media. We are still saying that people have AIDS. Hardly people have AIDS. People are having HIV. They are living healthily with it, because if you say AIDS, they equate it to death. So we want to destigmatize that people are living with HIV, not AIDS. We don't want to see anybody coming to report as AIDS, because that would have been mean that you've been sick for so long that you have so many illnesses that have accumulated to being AIDS. So that is number one. And the other one is we want to destigmatize by saying that let people come out and know their HIV status. Let them not look at people who are very, very sick and associated it to HIV. Because HIV have no signs and symptoms. We say you cannot tell by looking. The only way you are certain that you have HIV is for you to agree to undergo counseling and be tested. It is only in that area that will be certain that you have HIV. And without knowing your status, you will not be able to get that treatment, because there is no presumptive diagnosis in HIV. You cannot say, I think this one have HIV, I am going to give treatment. You must know your status first. Because one of the reasons why the stigma is falling also is that many people do not know their status. If you say 95%, 26,400 and something thousand people who are living with the virus, less than half, less than 15,000 know. So it means that if another person wants to go and know their status, the majority of the people will say, oh, do not go, because they say when you go, when you have HIV, you will die. Because when you go for the counseling is a process. They give you all the basic facts about HIV. And usually results are only two. It's either you are negative and you are told how to stay negative, or you are HIV positive, you are put on treatment. So if you undergo that counseling, it will help to demystify the illness or the disease. Therefore, if you have another person wanting to go, you will not tell the person don't go, you will encourage, in fact, the person. And we believe that that will reduce the stigma and the discrimination. The other one we are addressing is about the issue of this perception or myth saying that there is no confidentiality within the health service system. We want to assure the public that confidentiality is a pillar of medical and nursing ethics, and everyone who is working within the Ministry of Health or within the HIV response is trained on that. So let them not be afraid, let them go. And then where the person is found wanting, let them report, because there's a line of communication, so that at least measures could be taken to address such rather than just spreading the rumor that there is no confidentiality with it. So these are some of the areas that we're using to actually tackle the issue of the stigma and discrimination.
We'll come back to you. So Gando, let's proceed with the polio vaccine.
Yeah, but I would want to add something on the HIV, which is very important, as you are saying, the stigma and discrimination. The main problem that leads to this, that is stigma and discrimination, is it avoids people of trying to go for testing. It prevents people from trying to know their status because of the stigma and discrimination. It prevents people from going for treatment. You understand? And then these are some of the challenges that we face due to the stigma and discrimination. And some of the, when you meet up with some of these people who are living with the virus, the HIV virus, they tell you we find it very difficult sometimes to get a house where we can stay because of the stigma and discrimination. Once you are somebody who maybe come out in public to say, I am this, you understand, they find it very difficult to fit in society again. You can see society trying to reject them. When they go to a landlord to get a house for rental, they are there for a few days and somebody come and inform this person, and then you can see how difficult it becomes. Landlords, most of them will reject them. So that is why this year the team selected for this year is everybody should take the right spot, because that means HIV now is not a matter of health issue only. It's a matter of human rights. If I am working at the Ministry of Health and one day I am tested to be HIV positive, that should not mean my work at the Ministry of Health should end. You understand? I should not lose my job. And this applies to anybody working anywhere.
But how is the sensitization? How is the sensitization process to make sure people are aware of that?
Yes, that's why we are here, and that's why we will not stop. And that's why we had the World AIDS Day celebration, and which was also complemented by the First Lady, who also came up with a team, that is We Are Equal. Similar to the team, the world team, which is, let's take the right path. This is because if somebody today was not diagnosed and tomorrow is diagnosed, that doesn't mean that person is different in any way because of he is or she is HIV. And another thing also we want to clarify here is the journalists who will come to our press briefings, let them be very attentive of the information that they share with their viewers or their audiences. Because we have seen a newspaper report which says Banjul have the highest, HIV.
And I've seen another one, CRR, URR. Sort of.
Okay, so that was not the accurate one saying Banjul have the highest. What was said by the program manager of the National AIDS Control Program, who was giving the statistics, Pa Usman Ba, was that Basse, URR have the highest prevalence, then followed by CRR, then Brikama. Banjul was not even mentioned in the top 3. So these are things that we will like journalists to also be very mindful of, in reporting, you understand, statistics of diseases, because these are not just numbers. These are stories of people who are living with these, problems. And finally, on the HIV issue, as we said, HIV now is not a death sentence. You meet a lot of people living with HIV, they look better, they look fitter than me and you. So now people should not be scared, of being diagnosed HIV.
I can remember during when we were very little, when they are describing HIV, they will show a person malnourished, to an extent, a bony person, so the person is HIV positive or something.
Because there was no treatment by then.
Those are the things that we...
antiretroviral drugs. But now with the antiretroviral drugs that are available, and we have 25 sites in the country where these things can be made available. So, and then we have more than 80 sites where you can get tested. So now with these retroviral drugs, these people can live a healthy life and a long life without having any other problem. Alima have said it here. What kills them now is not the AIDS, that is the disease from the HIV virus, but because what HIV does, it destroys your immune system. And when that happens, any disease will be welcome. And any disease that comes in will also be difficult to get rid of.
So we have minutes to go. Let's quickly talk about the campaign before we wrap up.
The polio campaign, as you rightly mentioned, is starting tomorrow, and we are appealing on the general public, especially parents and guardians of children under the age of 5, to bring out their kids. Yes, they did it last month at the same time, 12 November to 15 November. So when we come back, this is the second round. So don't say because you did it last month and this month there is no need for your child to receive the vaccine. It is important that your child have a complete round of vaccine, and that's why we are doing this second round, and we are appealing to parents out there, especially those who have schools, because tomorrow is a school day. So we will be visiting most of schools, because this is where maybe 80% of our targeted population will be tomorrow during the morning. So we are appealing to all schools through the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, which is our very good partner when it comes to vaccine and vaccinations in schools or around schools. So we are appealing to everybody to come out, and whenever they see their teams, let them be welcome and know that this is a national cause. And today we will be having a press briefing which will be aired in your news bulletin, of course, in the night, so that people will know that this is not just a thing that is happening behind the door, but this is a national issue, and this is something that the ministry is taking very seriously, because we don't want to come back to diseases that we have fought 30 years ago, 20 years ago, that we are used to kill or paralyze a lot of our people, and today to come back to those diseases. So that's why, if at all, even HIV, we had a vaccine for it. Today we will not be talking about treatment and all those things. So we will be talking about vaccinating everybody, giving everybody the life opportunity for you to be vaccinated. And to tell you, polio vaccination campaigns all over the world has been the biggest medical achievement in the world, because when you look at it, in the 1960s or beyond, the number of people that used to die due to polio, the number of people that used to get paralyzed due to polio is just huge and enormous. So coming to this now, we are facing, since 2004, Gambia have never seen a polio case on anybody. So we want to maintain that status quo, and we appeal to everybody to help us to make sure that we kick polio out finally.
Exactly. So quickly, we are out of time now. Let's talk about to get tested. Is it free, or can you access it from any health center?
Thank you. Like I said, HIV testing, treatment, and every other thing that has to do with HIV services is free in this country at the cost of the client. So you're free to go anywhere, any nearest health facility, and the services would be given. And then we are calling on everyone to go out, but we have people whom essentially we are targeting who are left behind by what we are, because in the Gambia, HIV has a woman face. Most of the women that go to the health facility get tested and they know their status. So we are using this forum to call on the men. Men, please come to the health facilities and get tested. And also the children. Let the parents make sure their children are taken, because the statistics we are having is saying that we are not getting the children. And we also want to call on individuals who have been tested. If you are HIV positive, we are calling on you to bring in your partners. Partners meaning your husbands and your wives and your children that are born less than 18 years.
If your wife is tested and she is negative, is there a need for you to go and test?
Yes, there is a need, because we have seen people who are living, one have an HIV, the wife is HIV negative and the husband is HIV positive, or vice versa. So your partner being HIV negative doesn't mean that you are, because let us remember that the major routes of HIV transmission, yes, 85% is sexual, but you have the other 15 or 25% that is from blood and blood products, or from mother to child. So you can get them from other routes, even though there are not many. So it is important that if your partner is tested negative, you also go and know your status. If you are all negative, it's fine. They will tell you. If they tell you, if they tell you are negative, then you keep on negative. And then, like he said, also, yes, you might have the wife might be HIV negative, but you the husband have three other partners and three other partners. So it is always have partners.
That's a problem.
So it is always good to come and know your status. Like I said, it's only two. It's either you are negative and you are told how to remain negative. We don't want you to have, and that is why we are saying we don't want to see any new HIV infection. We want to take care of those that are infected and also cut the chain of transmission.
Thank you.
So even if you are HIV positive, if you have a child, that child should be HIV free. And it is possible with the treatment. So let's come out and let us not be afraid of the HIV. Get tested and you will get treatment, and we enter an HIV free generation.
Thank you very much, Jibril Gando Bandle and Mrs. Halimatu Jallow, for coming on QTV and enlightening us on the polio campaign, and of course HIV as well. It's important for people to go and know their status. So thank you very much. Now we'll take a short break. After the break, then we'll engage the Public Relations Officer of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Service. We'll be talking about the Open Day celebration in Farafenni. We'll be right back.
This December 31st, Q Carnival is taking over Q City for the biggest celebration of the year. From 5 p.m. to 11:30 p.m., the evening kicks off with a vibrant cultural and family fun festival hosted by Famous Comedy. A perfect mix of colorful cultural displays, live entertainment, and exciting games for the whole family. But that's not all. The Q Carnival Marketplace is open from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. Shop unique crafts, handmade treasures, and indulge in mouth-watering foods from incredible vendors. Then as the clock strikes 12 midnight, the sky lights up with spectacular fireworks display. Now say goodbye to 2024 and welcome 2025 with a bang.
It's all about the Q Carnival music concert, live in a place we call Q City Complex. On the 31st of December, all road leads to Q City, featuring Jizzle, Miss Jobis, Hussein Dada, Antoine Sparky, Nyancho, Big Banger, and many more. Tickets are 200, so massive. Make sure uno line up live in a place we call Q City, 31st of December. Everything good. Come and enjoy the ambience. Whether it's culture, shopping, food, or music, Q Carnival is where all is happening. Q City is the place to be, the 31st of December. Q Carnival, you don't know, can't miss this carnival.
Q Money and Orange Money has just made money transfer easier. Now you can send money from Gambia to Senegal directly from your Q Money wallet. So what are you waiting for? Get your Q Money account now and start sending money to your friends and families through Orange Money in Senegal now. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Q Money e Orange Money Johnny weɓini nuldugol mbuɗi mi yetoma joni ida wawi nuldude mbuɗi
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Now let's move to the last segment of this program. And in the studios, we are with the public relation of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services, Pate Jiba. It's good to have you here, PRO.
Thank you so much, Balde, my firefighter.
We are very happy because all the time when we invite you, you are always here with us.
Yeah, that is my job. You know, the moment I was appointed to be the PR of the fire service, I understood this was going to become one of the challenges, so I have to live up to expectation.
True. Yeah, so we'll be talking about the 21st Open Day fire celebration in fire service celebration in Farafenye, which is very significant and other important things. Please tell us about this day.
Thanks so much once again for the invitation to this place. I'm delighted, actually, so grateful to share with the general population. You know, people will see us celebrating, will hear us celebrating, and will join us celebrating. And some of them, when they come to the ground, that's the time they definitely understand the importance of this open day. And it is called an open day celebration. Why? Because it is a day that is set aside to take stock of what we have done, our achievement, our shortfalls, and probably some of the challenges, constants that we encounter during the course of our firefighting and our rescues and so on and so forth. So the day is a day where we can call it an audit day if you like. Yeah, we can call it an assessment day if you like. But in a sense, it is a day that we will gather people and tell them the way we serve them over the year. Remember, we are paid by you, and you need to know how we serve you.
Absolutely.
It is not an institution that will be doing things, you know, under you know, how should I say, under the carpet, you know, without people knowing what they do. All what we deal with is protecting property and saving lives. And these lives that we save, some lives will escape us, some property will get damaged.
True.
Yeah, because we are unable to do what we should do in order to do the work effectively. Not because we want to see them perish, but because one or two things went wrong, and then as
sometimes
a result,
things beyond your control.
Beyond our control. So these are some of the things that we discuss, and it used to help people a lot. And it also become a platform where we can also not only to get ourselves audited, but of course also to entertain people and also to educate them on future occurrences. Yeah.
All right. So how did the event raise fire safety awareness?
Come again?
How did the event raise fire safety awareness?
Like I said, it's not only to do the auditing stuff, you know, it's also to raise fire safety awareness. The way we do that is we do some kind of simulation exercises, you know, and normally we know very well in this country we have almost in every community or in every household there is a butane gas. And in every household, sometimes there is electricity, you know, because we're having a lot of electricity now in this country.
Yes.
And electricity constitutes one of the highest, you know, causes of fires in our, you know, statistics.
True.
And followed by gases.
Gas, exactly.
Something like that. So we display our items, and we tell people what to do in case of any situation that is unbearable in your house. And with that, we share some leaflets. And these leaflets are informative leaflets that can help you understand. In case there is any problem in your house, you don't need to panic. Okay? You don't need to panic. You know, panic also causes a lot of problems. People feel that when fire starts, the only thing that you can do is to shout and run for help. You can do a lot without the firefighter coming. Imagine an entire building getting burned down to ashes. It could have started from a point, a portion of the house, which could have been managed by even a small boy in the house. So these are the tips that we give leaflets to people, and then we allow them to further disseminate it to those that did not come. So in the long run, we'll be able to have a lot of people understand what to do before the firefighter is called. Sometimes before the fire service arrives, it takes time. Imagine in Farafenye, we have a Farafenye station in Farafenye and in Bara, in the whole of North Bank. 2 fire stations. Looking at how big North Bank is, only 2 fire stations. So what we resort to is the information that we pass, and this information helps a lot. Yeah.
Wow, that's really, I mean, a very unfortunate, I mean, situation. I mean, considering the proximity of Farafenye and, you know, North Bank itself, I mean, having 2 fire service stations, I mean, what will happen to the villages within?
Yeah, and this is the reason why we, like you said, you know, in fact, I used to tell you here, the slogan in the fire service now is, the firefighter don't want to fight fire again. And when I say that, I would like to be listened to very attentively. You know, I'm not saying we do not want to
do you want to do you want to stop going?
We want to
when
stop
you're
fighting fires. We want to engage people. You know, we want to do what they call community engagement. So once we engage the people will know what surrounds them. They know the magnitude of whatever it is and what it will cost them. So with that, we are assured that we can save a lot of life and property. But if we continue to fight fire, imagine like you just said now, in North Bank, we only have 2 fire stations. So many communities may not be able to feel the presence of fire service in North Bank. Okay? But if we give them the information spread like wildfire. And if people are, you know, adhere to the directives, I am pretty sure that we will be able to lower the fire scenes in this country drastically, to imagine that actually we will stay without fighting fire. And fighting fire is not something conducive. It's not good for us. It's not good for the victim. You know, we keep losing our lives and we sustain serious burns. And then the victims also equally the same problem. So it is not a win-win situation. It's a lose-lose situation from both angles.
Absolutely.
So the best thing is sit down like we are doing, talk about matters, and that's why we decided to have a fire safety unit in every station.
So, I mean, the celebration in Farafenye, I mean, for you not to continue fighting the fire, were you able to engage the youths and schools as well?
Yeah, that is it. And that is not only for Farafenye. That is not only for Farafenye. You know, Farafenye has a radio station. In fact, I think 2 radio stations.
Yes, they do.
Our men are always at the radio station to talk to the people. And they will always go out to communities and put them together and sensitize them. And this is just because Farafenye is our topic of discussion. But this is something that we do every day here. We are catching them young. You know, sometimes it's difficult to teach old dogs new tricks.
True.
When you want to teach an old man about what to do, sometimes you are not entertained. They will not like to listen to you.
Absolutely.
But our target is, 80% of our target is the young ones. From the primary schools to the secondary school, middle schools, going to the high schools. And, you know, it is working well.
Yeah, so let's talk about the equipment. I mean, recently I've seen a lot of donations. I mean, I've seen fire trucks, I've seen ambulance. Tell us about these donations.
Yeah, this donation is one of a kind for the first time in the history of the fire service. something that went up to around the tune of $300 million. You know, it's a combination of so many things that I may not be able to count here, because there are a lot of miscellaneous items that I myself do not know. But the fact of the matter is, this is a donation from one NGO based in the Canary Island, and it is called Star Up. You call it Star Up, you know, and the star is not separated from the up. It's star. Is it Star Up you call it then? Star Up. Huh?
Star Up, yeah.
Star Up. Oh, good. So it's called Star Up. Star Up assisted immensely. And because of the magnitude of the donation is too big, it could not just be called donation to the fire service.
Okay.
It was donation to the government of the Gambia, led by His Excellency, our President.
But the purpose is for the fire service?
Not only the fire service, the purpose is for all of us. Remember, there are communication materials that are part of the donation.
Okay.
And this communication material will not only be communication for the fire service. The entire security. Or let me say, emergency response organizations in this country should be sharing that communication. You know, normally when you call using some of the GSMs, you will have some kind of network failures here and there. Or you want to call somebody, if you don't have credit, you cannot go in.
Yes.
So this has come to complement that.
Okay.
This is always a benchmark for us, so that we will pick it up from there. And it is not only for the fire service. It is for the entire emergency response organizations in this country. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So let's talk about the fire stations that we have within the Greater Banjul area. How swift is the response? How is your hotline, PRO?
Response from us is always there. Actually, it is there, and it has always been too fast, quick. Unless and until.
What is quick to you?
Yeah, what is quick to me? What is quick to me is, you know, it is an organization that has, you know, a code of conduct. You know, we have our rules of engagement. You do not have to allow the telephone to ring twice. That is one thing. And this is the description of the swift that you are talking about, asking about. When I say it is always fast, it's because it cannot ring more than once. It just rings once, and it is picked up. And the fire engine cannot stay for more than 2 minutes without departing towards the scene of fire. So the problem now is not at our end. The problem for the rapid response is not from our end. The problem is from the people that we find on the roads. The pedestrians, the cyclists, and the motorists are the ones that give us problems. Before we access the place, it is always an issue. But for us, when we are called, we know life is involved. Probably property is being damaged, is about to be damaged. And then we took an oath to protect life, and property. So it makes no sense for us to be called and be drinking atay or playing draft when we know there is fire. We have to go. But the problem is with the people. And the people are not just ready to understand that, you know, every life matters. Not only your life that matters on your property. If it is your property or your life that was affected, you are going to give way. But it is somebody else. This is why maybe they don't feel that it's important, because they are not affected. So this is, I'm appealing to people to have great understanding from every emergency response vehicle en route to a scene. Please let us just give them 1 second to pass, and then they go and solve the problem. Nobody knows who is the victim. Yeah.
Exactly. I've also seen the fire and rescue service. They are not only there to, rescue when it comes to fire, but also people, drowning. Someone, there was a boy that fell in a well. I can see they were also there to help, remove that body.
The problem in this country, our problem here, we think fire service, because it's called fire service, their job is just to fight fire. Yeah, I will, when I hear somebody say, yo, fireman Rekka, I used to feel it, but I don't feel it much, because I know the information is lacking. You are not aware of what is happening. You are not just aware.
They don't know.
They don't know. You don't have to blame people for not knowing.
Yes.
Teach them so that you will not blame them. You know, the moment you blame them, it's like you are not also doing what you should do. They don't know. So firemanship is a 360-degree job. It is not a job of just one thing. I do everything as a firefighter, everything. And we are the welfare arm of the state. We do almost everything. You know, welfare, free, free job, no cost. Nobody tells you, you have to pay me for fighting your fire. Nobody tells you, you have to pay us for getting lowered. Getting lowered into a well. You know, and even if we lose a firefighter, you know, out of firefighting or maybe in any dangerous situation, we take our body. You know, we take our body. It's our body. You know, whether you sympathize with us or not, we know it's our body. And this guy took an oath for what he did, and he died, you know, along the process. So we go into well, we go into pit latrines, sockaways. I mean, we go into them, and you dump a baby or something valuable inside the pit latrine. Call us. Call us. We go in. We go in. I do not know. I know actually, but I wouldn't tell you how we go in. Maybe somebody will feel uncomfortable. They maybe go into certain areas. I was wondering. You know, that could be a topic for another day. Yes, but we go into those things. And we climb trees. We climb mountains. You know, we go to everywhere. So, because these are places where you expect to find life and property. And you cannot just say, we do the unexpected. Anything that come our way, we take part. And we also go to the sea. This is why we are operating a sea rescue unit. And we have boats. And these boats, you know, those do exactly what we do on land. You know, saving lives, protecting property from damage. So, and we also are into healthcare service delivery. Okay. So, generally, the firefighter is into everything. I think this is all. Definitely. This is everything.
You have touched almost.
I have touched almost every angle.
Yes. So thank you very much, Piaro Jiba, for talking to us on QTV this morning and for honoring our invitation.
Thank you.
We hope to engage you more on this program. Yes.
Lovely.
Thank you, Piaro. Yeah, so viewers, this is all we have today for this edition of QTV this morning. Be reminded, Christmas and New Year's Eve and all this month of festive activities, Q City is the place to be. So get ready to go and enjoy your holiday, time at Q City. You will find it very amazing, and it will definitely be one of a kind. Until we come here again tomorrow, have a wonderful day.